All right. Shall we start, Nikki?
Yes.
All right. Great. I'm filling in for Chris Young, and I'm going to pretend I know what I'm doing as chair. All right. As a preliminary matter, this is Mark Catone acting as chair for this sign advisory meeting on this July 1, 2025. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kevin Kuster.
Here.
Paul Wolf.
Here.
Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative as well. Nikki Sheriff.
Here.
Thank you. All right. With that, I think, unless I've missed anything, we should be able to start and open our agenda. Let me just go take a look here. Maybe start with public comment, right, Nikki? Typically, yeah. Do we have any public comments? With that, yep.
If we're asking for permission, is that considered public comment? No. Okay, sorry, I've never done this before.
I assume if you have an application before us, is that correct on the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's an application that we'll review.
Okay.
We're just looking for others that might have concerns or comments about sign advisory business. With that, I'll move on to the agenda itself. Starting, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, could we have a motion to adopt the agenda and then a motion to adopt the minutes, if you're so inclined?
We can do that. Kind of a motion to adopt the.
Second.
Thank you. With that, that is an adoption of the agenda, and can we have a motion to adopt the minutes as well that were sent out?
So moved.
Thank you. With that, I think we can now move on to the agenda, right, Nikki? All right. Thank you. Starting with the first application, we have 29 Center Street.
Hi, that's me.
Excellent. If you would like to, once it's up, present your application.
Sure. So this is a temporary sign for a pop-up event at the Faraway Hotel. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this situation. They're just looking for a sign to indicate that their pop-up is occurring from July 15th to 17th. So they're looking for a 3-day sign. The sign will be 16 by 16, the sign itself with 1-inch tall lettering. And then the standing around the sign would be 30 inches tall. I do want to make a note. I know that freestanding signs are not allowed, but if there's a way that we can work to figure out a solution to indicate that there is an event at the Faraway, so that, I know what's available, what we can do. I'm totally open to that. They're totally open to that. I included some pictures from previous applications. I know Cara was approved in a planter. So if that, and Bank of America as well. So if that's how we have to go, we're totally open to that. Just kind of looking for some feedback.
Okay, thank you. I'll start with Kevin.
I'm just curious as to where the entrance to Faraway Hotel is. It looks like I thought it was on the other side.
Yeah, it is on the other side. This is like a little cut through area next to the Eye of the Needle.
I guess, in my opinion, because it's not at an entrance, I think it's just adding it. Yeah, I understand it's a back way in, but everybody's got a back way in. I'd prefer that it be at the entrance. That's my comment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Paul?
I believe from looking at the application that the sign is made out of steel.
Yes,
And
it's painted, but yes.
Our signs have to be made out of wood.
Okay.
Has it been made already?
No, I'm open to whatever we think that can work for this. You know, this isn't the first event that's there. It's probably not going to be the last. So if there's like any guidelines that you guys have, I'm open to, and we can use that moving forward as well.
Well, it would have to be wooden.
Okay. Any other comments, Paul?
No,
No. Um, okay. I think we have permitted some sort of signage in this location in the past. Um, I always thought it was more for a pop-up retail situation down this way from the former Peter Beaton studio or hat shop. And in addition to that, I think we've always had the signage anchored in sort of planters and such. So I think I'd rather hold this for, I mean, fortunately that there are events coming up, but I think some of the precedent information that they provided that is more successful than what's actually being proposed, and therefore we should see some sort of planter to operate as the armature that the sign could then be anchored into. If it's a 3-day event, is that what I understand? Is that correct?
Yep, it's 3 days.
3
And
days,
they're
yeah. I
willing to
mean,
remove, they're willing to remove the sign during non-pop-up hours. So they're willing to work with whatever is allowable. I know that past events haven't had their signage approved, and I'm looking to change that. So I'm just trying to figure out a way that we could do that.
yeah, sure. I appreciate that. So, it sounds like you're going to get kind of a mixed review here, and we'll see if we can try and get something more consistent. But I mean, I would be more in favor of a proposal that is anchored into a planter of some sort, and I am less concerned about it being wood fabrication for a 3-day event. I think we've allowed certainly temporary signage of non-traditional materials for such a short period. And I appreciate the fact that you're only going to have it up during the active hours, not overnight and such. I'm trying to figure out how we can kind of move on from here without actually having that proposal. You've shown us precedents and such here, but your actual application is not something that I think we're ready to support.
Okay.
And I don't know. So, I mean, if you were, I think if Nikki, we wouldn't be meeting for
So
presumably 2 more weeks or next week or.
We wouldn't be meeting until 2 more weeks, so July 15th. And
Yeah,
when is this?
I think the 15th, is that what it's on?
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah,
it's up to you. I don't know if you want to do a condition, not sure it's
right. What,
well, we could make
I'll
it.
try something, Mark.
yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the design on wood and using a wooden barrel, half of a wooden barrel as a planter, and the post to not be any higher than 30 inches.
I'll second.
Okay.
And some sort of plants in the barrel.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to add that this is temporary only and not as a permanent solution.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and second. Kevin, you were in favor of
Yes.
that motion?
Yes.
Okay. I think the chair is as well. Is any questions from the applicant on that?
Yeah, just so I'm understanding correctly, so the 16 by 16 inch shape, lettering, etc. is approved as long as it's in a planter, which I don't think planters need to be approved. So as long as it's in a planter less than 30 inches tall, single-sided is what you're saying, just to be clear.
And the sign blade itself should be fabricated of wood.
Okay.
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 Sorry, Nikki, it seems like you had a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, and then
Yeah,
typically when we do,
hold on,
go
hold
ahead,
on.
Kevin.
In this, I would disagree a little bit with the applicant. In this case, the planter is being used to support the sign, so I believe that that falls under the jurisdiction. It's already pushing the limits of a freestanding sign. So I think that I don't want to see some fancy gaudy planter put in there. I think the half barrel or a smaller wooden, planter of some kind. That's the intention of my motion.
Sure. Sorry,
So
Nikki.
we should take a vote on the motion.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, Nikki, do you have any other additional comments to add on that?
Yes, I would also like documentation of it so I can have it in the file. Like, Jenny Bird last year, they were approved with this same condition, but they provided a document portraying the planter with the plans and then the sign. So we have that.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. So, do we take a vote on that proposal? Kevin?
All those in favor, aye.
Paul?
Aye.
All right, and the chair is in favor as well. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to Connie and Coleman Insurance, Petticoat Row.
Hi, do I just start?
Yeah, we're just gonna get your application
Okay.
up on the screen,
Mhm,
and then we
mhm.
can, and then we'll be happy to have you
Okay.
introduce it. Thank you.
Okay.
And just state your name for the for the
Shelley
record.
Lockwood.
Thank you. Okay, Shelley.
So really what we're doing is asking to replace a sign that's been there historically. So if you see in that first picture, if you didn't know it, it says what's left of Petticoat Row. And this was a painted sign on this building. So I went to the museum and then I ended up at the Research Museum on Fair Street. And Matthew, I don't know how to say his name, Kunert, he's the reference archivist at the museum, helped me find this picture. And you can see, if we could blow it up, the sign is there, painted on the side of the building, Petticoat Row. It's kind of hard to see, I'm sorry. But what I'd like to do is replace that exactly the way it looks. I don't want to change anything. I want to replace it. I think everybody here probably knows the significance of Petticoat Row. And, Center Street was that street. I talked with Bill Congdon, who owns the building, and he's very happy about it. He thinks it's a great idea. I don't know how much backstory you want. I mean, I got my master's in American history, and I just think that keeping things like this oh, there we go. That's a better sign, are important, and it faded away. That's okay. But I think bringing it back would be great. So as I said, Bill Condon, who owns the building, is on board. I researched this at the museum on Fair Street, and I reached out to Ben Moore, who suggested two painters who have done a lot of work with the Nantucket Preservation Trust. So I have Miguel Pereira and Adam Zanelli, who have worked with NPT, and it's going to be a little tricky to maybe get the exact color because we're not really sure what that was, but certainly nothing outside the purview of what's approved nowadays for the historic colors. So I spoke with Meg Bergman and Brian Bouchard and Magazine, and they're gonna hopefully take a picture when it's done and kind of promote Petticoat Row in the September issue as and kind of give it a little bit more exposure. That's one of my goals, is to have women who now have businesses on the island kind of stand underneath it and compare. It'll be fun. Anyway, but the main thing is I want to hopefully get people walking by to look up and ask, what is that? And just keep that interest alive. So there we go.
Shelley, before I open it up for comments, one question I have is, maybe it's just not clear to me. Who do you actually represent? Is it the
Myself.
Association of?
No, I just think it's a cool idea.
Okay, so you're just in theory a local citizen who's found this to be historically significant and would like to restore its original signage. Okay, that's that was really my question.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with anybody except I work on Center Street, and I looked up and I was like, oh, that's a shame. That should be brought back. So I decided to take it on as a project.
Interesting. I'll have to say that until I saw the photographs, I never knew that ghost sign existed there.
There you go.
Yeah. Paul, we'll start with you for comments.
My only comment is, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
It looks to me like somebody who wasn't much of a painter or a sign maker did the original one, and it doesn't look professional. What is your intention in terms of the letters and so
So, I went round and round about that. And like I said, I got my master's in American history. I think there's merit to putting it back the way it was. I'm not saying I've decided that's the only way I'll do it. I want to get it up there. But I think making it look modern, I don't know. I love the fact that historically it wasn't perfect and that it represents an effort by somebody, over 100 years ago. I love that about it. If that's not going to be okay, I won't stick to that. But I love the idea that it's authentic,
Okay.
and that it would get people's attention.
Thank you. Let's hear what others.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Kevin?
This is a very difficult one. I appreciate what the applicant is trying to do. However, it kind of flies in the face of a couple of obstacles for me. Number one, I think it sets a precedent that would be a little hard to control. There was a time when all kinds of things were painted on buildings, and we had a case not long ago where it was, I believe, on the back of the Dreamland. I also think that there's precedent for leaving just exactly as it is and untouched, and that would be down at the NHA over what is now the entrance to the gift shop. I believe you'll see a ghost sign, and I think ghost signs have a place, but I think they should be kept kind of as ghost signs. The other point that this has is it really doesn't reflect the business, and it doesn't reflect an entrance. However, I think because of where this is and so forth, I'd be inclined to make a recommendation or a motion that we hold this for full board.
That we what? I'm sorry?
That we hold this for the full board. I
don't know this process. I don't know what that means. Can you help me understand that?
Sure. Right now, you only have 3 people on your board, and that's Mark and Paul and myself. Sounds like Paul hasn't made up his mind yet. I'm probably going to be against this because of the reasons I just stated. So, and because of its position where it is highly visible, and that can have discussions on both sides, whether that's good or bad. But and in the event that this maybe does go up to the full HDC board, I think you would benefit from having our full board look at it if you have the time to wait.
I don't have the time to wait, but
well, then you're more than welcome to go ahead and see where this falls.
So what is that? I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
We'll take a vote today.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I may jump in, Kevin. It sounds like we will meet again in 2 weeks' time, at which point ideally we should have a full board. So it'd be 5 members versus 3 members commenting on your application.
I see.
If you've got time, I think Kevin's suggestion maybe to get more members to weigh in might be to your benefit. If you don't, then we can see if there's a motion made on the application. And again, we're an advisory board. We make a recommendation. It then goes, just to give you some background, from here it'll go up to the HDC board, and they will review the application and our recommendation, and then make ultimately the final decision. And you are also welcome to attend that meeting and make your presentation before the Historic District Commission board as well.
That's tonight at 4, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So those are sort of your options, and just a little bit about how the process works. So it's up to you. I think Kevin's made a recommendation. Certainly it's not a motion at this time, I don't believe, but do you have, you said it sounds like you don't have time.
I'm sorry?
Are you trying to do this within a certain window, or it sounds like you're a little more?
Yeah, because I want it done. I think it's a fantastic idea. B, I'd like to get a picture, to promote Petticoat Row, which is an historic significance on this island. I'd like to get women entrepreneurs under the sign and take a picture, which is kind of related,
Sure.
And when are they open? And we're in that season now. So, I was trying to get this, to get the most exposure of an idea and a historical significance on this island from when the whaling ships would go out, that women ran the show here. I think it's really important to our island's narrative. So
understood.
The more people I could have under it or involved in it, when we kind of unveil, I think the better for the cause of exposure and education.
Okay, so you've heard from 2 of our members. It sounds like you would like to move forward with this. I as a chair, I think I'll just add my comments. I'm probably a little bit more in Paul's camp on this. I think I agree with his comments, and I see and recognize some of Kevin's comments as well in terms of the sort of the historical nature of a ghost sign in itself. I do feel like, at some point this would become a ghost sign again. So do you restore it to a point and then you sort of let it fade out over time again? Or
there's a business organization that was started on the island. Actually, one of my coworkers started it, Rebecca Becker. And she calls it Petticoat Row. And it's a group of women entrepreneurs on Nantucket who meet regularly.
Yeah, no, I think we're familiar with the organization. I appreciate all that. And that's why I asked who you're representing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think and some of the other members as well. I'm certainly familiar with it. So
I'm not trying to promote that organization. I'm just trying to get the sign repainted.
Yeah, I understood. So that's what I thought. And that was my initial question. So I think circling back to where we started, I think it's intriguing. I don't find it to be, I think it's a little unique. Certainly. We don't see this very often. As I said, I turned this corner 1,000 times. I've never noticed that ghost sign before in that corner. And I do sort of like the fact that it is it literally hand done. It's got a rustic nature to it. Is it there's 2 different things in the photo of the ghost nature. It looks like it's white on brick. When I look at this, it looks like it might have been white background with maybe black lettering. Do you have an intent of what that would actually look like in its final iteration?
What I'm going to do is Bill Congdon wants to pick the painter out of the 2 Nantucket Preservation Trust painters that I put in front of him, so to speak.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is when he picks one of the painters, I'll work with the painter to try to suss out what would this have been? Like, could we find a picture? There's no colored picture, so it's going to be hard. But we can use historical reference, right, to try to come as close as possible to what would have been represented. Like, I doubt, whatever color, it looks to me to be black and white, but I think a painter would have a better idea of what was used at the time. The way the letters have faded to this point, they look bluish, which is the way black fades, that grayish blue. So I think we'd start to work with that from there. But I haven't picked final paint colors because I want to talk to these 2 historical painters first.
I think this advisory committee would want to know what those colors are before signing on this. So that in itself, we may want to delay this, unfortunately, till we have that information. And I think then you would have the benefit of the full board as well. So I have a
moved.
motion.
So moved.
All right.
What does
Thank you,
that
Kevin.
mean? I don't know.
That would be a motion.
We're going to
hold
hold
for
the
further
application
information.
for further information.
And further information being the paint colors?
I think paint colors, and I think we as a board would like the full board advisory board to be able to weigh in on this, where this is a rather unique application before us. I think it would benefit the application in the end and the advisory board as well. So
When do you meet again?
2 weeks time.
Let's take a vote, please.
Yeah. On that motion, Kevin
Aye.
and Paul?
Aye.
Aye. And the chair is in favor of that as well. So we'll hold this application for additional information and ideally a full board. And we'll review this again when resubmitted.
I have a couple technical questions.
Sure.
You're holding, I just want to make sure I want to get this right because I really
Yep.
feel passionate about this. It's replacing anyway, I'm not going to go there. So you're holding my application for 2 weeks for 2 reasons. You want the paint colors and you want a full board. Is that accurate?
Correct.
I'm trying to relay this to Bill and the magazine and the
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I'm giving everybody the right information.
Yeah, we never make a recommendation on a sign or application without at a minimum knowing the colors that are being proposed. So we would need that and want that information as part of the application.
And I believe we would need some sort of final design or artwork of what's going to be applied. Right now, we have an idea. And
Yeah.
yes, it's a great
I'd like
idea,
to
but we
replace
don't
what's
approve
there.
ideas.
We know what we want to do. It's in front of us. So that's not going to change, hopefully. I wouldn't want it to. I'd like
Right, but I think just to clarify, not to speak for Kevin, but I think we don't have more specific information in terms of, I think we can all guess what it might look like, but we don't have colors. We probably don't have a dimensional field. You know, is it 10 by 20 wide, whatever that might be in terms of inches. So I think more specific information would be to everyone's benefit in terms of this review. I mean, so we do have a size. It's 18 by 24. Just so I'm not, but we don't have any colors or anything called out yet, obviously. So yeah, I think we've got a motion that's been voted on, and I think we'll hold this and then move forward unless you have any other questions.
No, I just want to be sure when I put this in writing after, and send it to Bill and send it to whoever all is involved.
Absolutely. If they have additional questions, you can always reach out to Nikki and she'd be happy to.
We're going to hold it for 2 weeks for a full board and paint colors. That's my next hurdle, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and attend the HDC meeting tonight with this, because if there's going to be additional hurdles, I want to know about them now and just keep it moving on every front. So I'm going to zoom in or whatever that is at 4 o'clock today and just keep finding out more information from the powers that we.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair. So are you planning to attend the meeting tonight and be heard by the full board? Because I need to know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on. 45 Main Street, applicant Alan Bell.
One sec, because now I'm thrown off because I have to figure out my evening. All right, hold on.
I'm here on their behalf, Mark.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to, once it's up, present your application?
Sure. This is my first sign committee meeting, at least for going in for the client to propose this. So I'm not really sure where to start, but they just want to take pretty much their logo, which has stayed the same for I don't know how long, but this is the sign they would like to go with for the front of their building, a projecting blade sign. And they even wanted to go with the font that matched on the front face of the building. So we made sure we matched that too to keep it aesthetically, as you can see from the photo down lower. Yeah, it's not direct on, but it's the same font with that sort of squared off endings, and there's an example of it. Any questions?
Well, I'll start with Kevin. I believe you'd be up next for comment.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the size.
It's 22 by 17.5 inches.
Okay.
Hussy
And,
green and gold enamel.
and what is the dimension of the thickness?
0.75, 3/4 of an inch.
I've thought a lot about this over the past day, and I think it's a very sensitive spot in that this is one of those buildings like, you know, Pacific National and the Club Car and other sort of iconic places. And in fact, that the sign has been kept at the base of the building is sort of a part of that. I'm less concerned about a sign being here as I am about the detail of it being made. I think it should be crafted and built in a way that's sort of historic, and I think that would be a typical hand carved sign would be thicker than that, because it would need to stand up over many years of weathering and so forth. If you look at the sign that's at, I believe it's number 2 Union, you know, that's an example of that. I feel like this, from what I can tell, and maybe the designer has something different in mind, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look like it's really been there a long time. It looks like it's new and fairly freshly routed out, so to speak. So for those reasons, I'm not in favor of this of what I see, and it may just be the detail that's in front of me. I also would not want to see lighting on here. I don't think that's appropriate at all because of the age of the building and of this business, just like we had done over at Mitchell's bookstore. Third point, I guess, that this does not go well with the projecting sign is that I feel like this end of Main Street and this particular side of Main Street is really getting punctuated with a lot of projecting signs that I don't think serve anyone much of a purpose. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Paul?
I understand what Kevin's concerns are, but I really don't have any concerns. I think it's attractive. I think it's, it is a new sign, so it's going to look new for a while until it weathers. And the fact that there are projecting signs down the whole block, that's the way it is. So I don't have any concerns at all, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Paul. My comments might be, can I get clarification on its construction again? Is it carved or is it painted?
It's handcrafted, yes.
Handcrafted, but is it
Carved.
those are carved letters? Okay,
Yeah,
inside
yes,
letter. All right, and a wood. I do agree. I don't know if there's an error in the application, but 3/4 of an inch, and if it's carved on both sides,
I don't know how you do it.
I don't think you've got enough meat to make that work. And I think Kevin's quite right in that
I've
it should be
actually
enough.
I've done a few signs that thickness, and it has worked very well, and I have not had warping. And actually with hard wood, I know it seems thin, 0.75, but I've had very good results. And the only time I haven't had good results is when I use worse material. So it really just comes down to using quality material from the start. And
So what is the material, if I may ask?
hardwood, MDO.
MDF. So it's
MDO.
medium density fiberboard, MDO.
Not
yeah,
MDF,
well, MDO is so neither of which are allowable. So you
Sorry, can you back up to the top of the application? Maybe it was hardwood. I forgot what I had.
Yeah, but a hardwood doesn't tell me anything. Is that a mahogany? Is it? I don't understand.
Wood.
What is it? So that's just, yeah. So I'm still a little confused because
it's not plywood. It's MDO, which I had
Yeah,
read
but
it,
that's
at least in the sign handbook, that MDO was allowed with proper.
no, that's not correct. It has to be an actual wood product, true product. So you're
I'm happy to make
assembling.
it from whichever wood product you guys prefer.
If you
I can
could just
make
let
it
me
from
finish my
mahogany.
comments for a second, you've answered my question. I'm glad
Okay.
I asked it. So yeah, it needs to be a genuine, true wood material, i.e.,
Sure.
say a mahogany, a hardwood that will sustain. I do believe when you go that route, you're going to be gluing up a product to be able to create a blade. And as a result, you're going to end up at something a little thicker than 3/4 of an inch because you're not using a sheet stock at that point. Okay. So I think the application should be revised to note the materiality. You've answered the question on its being incised. Is that it's a gold leaf on Essex green? Is that correct?
No, they're only paying for gold enamel, not gold leaf.
Okay, so it's a paint.
It's acrylic.
Yeah,
Which is
and
what it is.
there's no lighting proposed.
No.
Okay. I think in terms of the graphics, I don't have any concern. I've expressed my concerns about its construction and what will require for the guidelines. I'm probably in Paul's camp in terms of, no real concern. I think we would typically allow for a blade sign in this location. And it seems fitting to Main Street. Otherwise, as long as the application is modified, I would ask you to go back to the office and alter that to reflect the true construction to be consistent with our guidelines.
I could add, Mark, just for the record, I'm not opposed to the design of this at all.
Okay.
I'm just concerned, and I think we've fleshed out my concern, and frankly, it's not a concern just for this sign. It's been happening a lot, and it's not reflective of any kind of historic character. So I'd make a motion to hold for revisions.
Those revisions being, Kevin, sorry.
Construction details, how it's going to be carved.
What was that first thing? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Construction details, how it's going to be carved. Our board is when we say carved, we typically mean hand carved, and if it's not going to be hand carved, it's got to be pretty representative of a hand carved, and that's going to be thicker dimensions. Anyway, we need to know what the material is other than that. MDO.
Okay, so we have a motion to hold for additional information. It sounds like.
Second.
And we have a second. I will also vote in favor of that motion. So we will hold this application over.
Let's do.
May I ask a question before you continue to the next sign?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So was there
Just a
Shelley
second.
was talking, sorry.
Okay. One
Because
moment.
the motion's on the floor, I just want.
Yeah, can we vote on that motion?
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin on your motion?
Aye.
And Paul?
Aye.
And the chair is in favor as well. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, applicant.
Okay, so just to be certain, there's no more meeting today in the evening that I can resend the design for, or so what goes on in the, because Shelley was talking about going in the evening, and do you guys meet twice today?
No, we will meet just this morning. We'll meet 2 weeks from now. The Historic District Commission will be meeting this evening.
Okay, and the only things that you guys would like to see more elaborated on is the material and how it's made, some of you?
Yeah, I think we'd like some clarification on the materiality in its construction in itself. Right now, the application doesn't reflect something that is consistent with our guidelines.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So just so I'm clear, so I know, because are you planning to go tonight? Because if you are, I need to know.
Well, I think because I got, since you guys are motioning to see the design differently, wouldn't going tonight not really hold much effect?
Okay, just making sure so I know.
Okay, I will not be attending tonight then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next application up, we have 2 for Nantucket Performing Arts Center. I believe this is something that's coming back to us.
Yes, good morning. Drew Kolakowski, Executive Director of Nantucket Performing Arts Center.
Hi, Drew.
So this is a revision of an application we had looked at a couple of weeks ago. The size and location of the 2 identical signs that we'll look at are not changed from what was there with the previous tenant or what we reviewed the last time around. What we have changed based on the feedback from the last time we talked is changing the font to a sans serif font and adding the edge banding around it.
Okay, thank you. Paul, you'd like to open with comments?
I don't have any questions or problems.
Thank you. Kevin?
Quick question just to refresh my memory. Is this painted or carved or both?
Is painted.
Okay. I have no concerns. I'm happy to make a motion to approve if my chair approves.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I have no concerns either. I appreciate the revisions.
Second.
Kevin, you in favor of your motion? Yeah, and I am as well. Vote on that motion, right? Paul?
Aye.
Aye, and Kevin?
Aye.
And the chair is in favor as well. Thank you very much. I believe we have a second application for the same property.
Yeah, and so this is the courtyard location, identical sign, and again the same dimensions and location as what was there previously.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Nikki, is this what we're seeing here now? The courtyard is on screen now?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And the chair is in favor of that motion as well. And vote on that motion. Kevin?
Aye.
Aye. And Paul?
Aye.
And the chair is in favor as well. Thank you very much. We appreciate you working with us.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Any additional? And that's all our applications, right, Nikki?
Yeah, this is all we have for applications this week.
You got it. Okay.
So we'll move on to
To enforcement?
Yes. Okay, so Jack and Charlie, issued a citation for them yesterday. I finally got the number from next door. So I issued a citation, so I'm hoping to hear back. It's the first offense with a citation, so unfortunately it's $10 based on the bylaw. But I'll keep moving up if it's not removed. And this is in regards to, well, you all know the multiple door signage there.
Yeah.
The Melissa and David, the neon nail sign, I gave them a call Friday, so she did remove it from the window, Mark.
Great. Thank you.
And then I haven't heard back from Gaslight as yet, regarding their signage. I haven't gone down because sometimes they don't reach out to me, they just remove the signs, but I haven't got a chance to go down that part of downtown just to see if it's still there, but if anybody knows.
It was still there as of Saturday night.
Saturday? Okay.
Yeah.
And then in regards to Aunt Leah, I know I sent the documentation from the court regarding their grandfathered status. And Kevin did reach out to me, asking if they had a photo, which I thought as well would have been helpful. That way we could determine if it was new, like a new design, or if it's the same as it was before. So I'll have to reach out to them. That's all I received from Chief Casper next door. So there's no way of us really knowing, if it's the original sign or not. I looked online to see if I could see any historic photos. I couldn't find anything of that. And then I have 2 more that I received from Leslie, the director. I think it's Beat Downtown. And then another, she sent me Aunt Leah's as well, but I sent her the document that is actually grandfathered. And there's another place, don't remember the name now, but I'll be going down to take photos today. And then I'll send them notices. These are all sandwich boards, by the way. And that's pretty much all I have so far. Oh no, one more. Olivela, the clothing store downtown, they had some window sticker signage. The manager reached out to me last week saying, she's in receipt of my letter. they weren't aware that they're not allowed to do sticker signage because they say they've been doing it for a while. Fortunately, when they have collaborations with other designers, they'll put that sticker on the window and it's only there for like 4 days. So I said, well, that would classify as a temporary sign. So you do need to come in. So they have a few more collaborations this summer. So I anticipate a few applications coming in for them regarding those temporary signage. That's all I have for now.
A
I have
question.
a question.
Yes, yes, Paul.
Nikki, I don't have the list in front of me, unfortunately. But the On Island gas station across the street from the Stop and Shop. I thought I sent something in once and I don't know what happened there, but they have a giant open sandwich board between their gas pumps right out close to the road.
Yes, I did receive that one. I sent them a notice, Paul. That notice was sent out on June 16th. So
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
it should be hearing back from them or it should be removed shortly. And I think there was another one you sent over, the Shell gas as well.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank
So,
you.
but it's on the list. I'll send the list today. I was just finishing up a few things that I didn't type in with my recent citations. Go ahead,
Right.
Kevin.
Yes, I know that I missed a few meetings this past year, but we're back on island, and I was curious as to if we have seen and approved the island lumber signage.
Is that the
Lumber-
signage that shows up on the outbuildings? Like on the back
on
shed
on
or
all the buildings, yeah.
all the new ones they added in the last several years, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's one added to one of the old buildings.
Yeah.
I'll have to check. They were in last year. I think it's an Essex green. I'll look into it, Kevin. I know they came in for one last year.
Yeah,
If I'm
I
not
mean
mistaken.
these are really, really large. I don't have any. I don't have a concern if they want to put a sign on their building, for identification. But I think these letters must be a foot or even taller, and it's
Yeah. Kevin, I drive down Milestone. Admittedly, when I saw them, I had the same question. They're not incredibly offensive, but I don't think we have an application, and I don't know if they were ever really formally discussed. So
Oh, wait a
it's
minute.
a good.
You know
You
what?
raise a good question.
Yeah, I take it back. I'm confusing Island Lumber with Marine.
right. And Marines,
Yeah, sorry
yeah,
about that. Marine did come in last year. Yeah, I'll have
yeah.
to go
Yeah,
out there.
these are the large sheds they constructed over the last 5-6 years, I
Yeah.
guess, behind the main complex. And I did see, I want to say just within the last 6 months, I saw those pop up as well. And I don't recall seeing an application.
Yeah, no, I think we should let them know because Marine Home went through the process. They have tasteful small signs,
Yeah.
and this would be highly unfair.
Yes,
Yeah, maybe
do
Nikki,
it.
if we can try and capture a pic, and if I can try and do so we have something
Yeah,
to
if anybody
reference.
beats me to it, just email me a photo. If not,
Yeah,
I'm not doing
Yeah,
it
I can do that.
until, oh no, Friday's a holiday. I'll try to get to it this week. If not, it'll be like next week.
sure.
The other
Okay.
point I wanted to make is really not enforcement, but I was talking about it, earlier today, and I think when we have a full board, it would be worthy of a little bit discussion. I'm noticing that our signs, while they're looking, coming back after having been gone for over a year, it feels like our signs are like little cardboard sheets that are hung out in front of things. There's not much dimension to them. There was one sign that we approved on Main Street. I think it's Odin or Odin or something like that. It's just really, really teeny. And then there's others that are really, really large. And I feel like we're getting the design accomplished to a big degree, but some of our detail and scale, I think is not as good as it could be.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about specifically on the it's a new clothing store that opened, but that oval sign is incredibly small. Much smaller than I think we all anticipated. And I remember we did review it, but we must have missed the scale of that relative. And 9 times out of 10, we appreciate a smaller sign, but that one is under scale. They will say for that facade, it almost looks lost and a little unfortunate. Could have been scaled up somewhat, but Yeah, and today we saw that obviously that application. I'm glad we kind of drilled down on it a little bit in terms of the 3/4 inch because it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
And then we flushed out the materiality issue, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of that too around town, and in terms of
yeah.
not using true traditional construction methods per our guidelines. So you raise a good point there,
Maybe,
Kevin.
maybe next time when we do the application form out, we could clarify if it's hand carved, if it's machine carved, if, get a little more detail because, technology is catching
Well,
up.
and a lot of what is being done is now being machine done. I think all the signage we've just seen on Cape Cod 5 is machine fabricated. I'm
Yeah.
almost certain of it. So very little of, we're not seeing the Paul McCarthy hand carved signs like we used to because the CNC machines have gotten so good. So good points. All right. Anything else?
It's another one. I just remembered it. I have to pull the file, but the J. McLaughlin building
Mm.
in
Yes.
town,
Yep.
I
He had
received a request for enforcement. It's a really large file. I actually have it on my desk. I have to review it. I don't know if any of you recall it. I think it was 2002, but I know they came in for a projecting sign and they came in for a wall sign. But before that, they had a fence sign. But then when they came in for the other signs, they said they would get rid of the fence sign. But the photo that I was sent has all 3 signs. So I'm trying to review the file to see which ones, were actually approved and which one needs to go, or
I
if they were
think
all approved.
No, I think the one, and again, maybe when we're a full board, everybody can weigh in, but I thought that the fence sign was the one that's in violation and that they did have a fence sign, but then when they came in and added the 2 signs, when they got approval for the 2 signs in the building, the fence sign was going to go away. And that fence sign, from my observation, is just sort of something that hangs, like they roped it on there. It's not even a permanent installation. So it seems like something that was going out daily or what have you. So clearly, they have to either, remove it and come into compliance, or if they would like the fence sign back, then we have to look at removing one of the signs on the edifice itself. So, but obviously can't have 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one. And then for tonight, because I know Petticoat Row will be showing up, I just want to be clear with my notes. So your motion was to just hold it for the full board and also to specify, paint colors. Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll see how that goes tonight. And then in the guidelines, it does call for, wall signs can be painted as well, which I'm sure they're going to reference that. So I don't know if anyone wants to show up tonight, or if you're okay with just the full board deciding tonight, then that's great.
On the application itself, should they go into discussion and review it?
Oh yeah, they do, because that's why I asked her. She's planning to have them opine on it. And so it just FYI, it's up to you, but yeah.
I
Sure.
think the only thing is, I'm not sure. I think if they're looking correctly, I guess I'm not sure that there is anything to approve. There's no design, there's no colors, there's just an idea, and all we're asking for is more details on the idea. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the only detail I saw was the dimension, right? I think it was maybe 18 by 24 by recollection.
Yeah, the dimensions were there, and I think she had black and blue or white and black, because obviously they want to do a light kind replacement, but they're not sure historically because it's so washed away what it actually was. But I just wanted some more feedback because I'll have to speak to say what really transpired this morning.
I think we just want to make sure what's going up there so everybody's aware.
Okay.
And frankly, two more weeks is not going to be the end of the world. And I
totally agree.
I guess I'm a little irritated by the fact that we should not be doing this for the sake of a promotional calendar.
It seems like there was an agenda in the background that was forcing that schedule, and it's been a ghost sign obviously for 100 years. So I think or whatever, a couple of weeks on it should make a difference.
Right, so
And
this,
you know, Nikki, I
44.
think it's interesting too. I can't think of another instance where we've had an individual ask for a sign. That's a very unusual situation, I think.
It is, and that's why I asked that question at the beginning of the discussion, because I couldn't figure out what body or who was she representing, what interest. And it initially started like somebody of just a historical interest, but then clearly it's been tied to the association, the Petticoat Row Association and group. So there's a little more to it, which is fine. But yeah, I think either way, we were
Just more
certainly,
detail on the actual
yes,
design, more
absolutely.
detail on the color.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
I'll let them know, to
absolutely.
see how it
Thank
goes.
you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Anything else before we wrap? Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And thank you very much. The chair is in favor as well. On that motion, Kevin,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and the chair is an aye as well. Thank you, Nikki. Much appreciated, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good week.
everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good job,
Care.
Mark.
I don't know if it's a good job, but I did it. I'll keep